Hi, guys.
Hi.
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 I'm really working on, I have this habit of saying, what's up, guys? Hey, guys.
Yeah. Classic podcast intro.
Or Instagram ad.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. How are you doing? Just want to talk to you about my teeth and how white they need to be.
Your teeth are very white.
I need to whiten them. And I have never promoted a teeth whitener.
Okay.
Something about it I've tried not to do. I think I've never promoted a teeth whitener because it allows me to make fun of it still.
Yes, that's the one you can still go to.
I've done a bunch.
What about detox tea? Maybe throw that. Okay, so that could be your new make fun of.
I haven't done either.
Right?
So if I go teeth whitener.
Okay, then you can do detox tea until you do that too.
Yeah.
and then we're out.
Then we're out. Well, welcome to episode 8. We made it. We made it to episode 8.
It's an important milestone.
I was a little worried.
I didn't get you anything. Sorry.
It's okay. This is our last episode. It's our farewell tour. So we're going to have some fun today. Thanks for all your feedback again. Quick call to action, as they like to say. We need some more questions. I think the question pool has dwindled, people. So email us your interesting stories at, what is it?
Questions or stories?
Ask Nick at castmedia.com.
Well, questions and stories.
Oh, I got so many questions. You need questions? I got questions.
Not like one-off questions, but like I want to hear like people's like dark, weird stories.
Well, I got that too.
And then I have some questions, and then we'll get weird advice from us.
Oh, right. Oh, it's like an advice thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm also working on not interrupting my my guest co-host, Nikki. So
was that a passive aggressive attempt to tell me to stop interrupting you?
Oh, no.
Because I felt the same. I was like, oh shit, I'm interrupting.
No,
you
I do that
much.
a lot in life. And then I noticed when I listen back to my podcast, I actually like pre-recorded an apology before my last one that Sam and Rochelle were like, I don't think you need it. Because sometimes you apologize preemptively, and then the only thing people are focusing on is the thing you're about to apologize for.
Yes. No one will have noticed it. Everyone interrupts each other next.
I was going to say, isn't that part of a conversation?
It is. We're all just waiting for our chance to talk.
We're listening. I think that's my thing.
We really are.
Until I can speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Can
all
I speak
care
now?
about. No, I can speak.
Okay.
But even right now, I was like, my brain's like, I have a thought. Get it out. You're
It's really hard as a host because I host a radio show, and so often I'll just I'll ask a question and try to listen, but what I'm really doing is thinking of the next question. So I try to stay present enough.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Do you work on your listening face? Oh, you guys are both so good at it. That's for the YouTube, really, more than anything else.
Yeah. I go, oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I've
But
also,
I don't understand the thing about interrupting, though. I really have to be honest. I know you've gotten a lot of feedback on that, or some feedback, but that is truly part of a conversation. If you're listening and you're paying attention, you tend to step on the other person.
It would be really
bit.
weird to have a conversation where you just end a sentence. And now you can speak. It's constantly, I want you to please interrupt me as much as you want, because I'll do the same to you.
Well, you asked for it. For those of you who don't already know, this is Nikki Glaser.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have Nikki on.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
Sorry, I didn't. No, that wasn't
You'll know if I'm
threatening.
being condescending.
That wasn't threatening. I really am like, oh, really? Thanks.
Nikki is a very talented comedian, entertainer, actor. She's doing it all. She has. She's working on a. Can I say?
Yeah.
She's filming a Netflix special.
Yeah,
which I
pretty soon.
feel like is kind of the rite of passage in life.
I have a half hour one on there.
I really want one. I'm not even a comedian.
I know.
I just want to say I have a Netflix special.
It really is like such a
it's like, oh wow, how do you do that?
a summit of doing stand up is like getting that hour special, because I have a half hour on Netflix currently, and then they wanted me to do an hour, so I'm on the road constantly every single weekend gearing up for it, and it's gonna be It's going to be fire.
It's going to be fire. I said fire before we recorded this podcast.
That wasn't how I talk, you guys.
And Nikki, Rochelle, and Sam all looked at me like,
fire.
I jokingly said I've been hanging around with too many Instagram models.
To be fair, in his head, he spelled it with a Y, like the festival.
I think that's the only way to spell it, right? When you say
that's how it ages me, because I'm like, did you see that Fry documentary?
I know. I keep wanting to say Fry too.
I said
Why? Why?
Anyways, I got this idea, and I thought we'd talk would be really interesting. Nikki being the fantastic comedian that she is, the difference between being funny and being mean. I think when it comes to humor is like I think something, whether you're a comedian or not, we all strive for, right?
Yeah.
Especially even in the dating world, like everyone's like, especially if you're a guy, man, if we have to hear how many times, I just want a guy who makes me laugh and I can travel with.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
let me just.
And then he'll take me to dinner, but I just want to laugh. It's like, fuck, I got to be funny.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
You got to be hot mostly. Then like I have to be attracted to you. I have to want to bang you. And then you have to be funny on top of that. But it's not that important. I'm funny. I don't really need a guy.
From a funny girl.
Honestly.
Is that the insincere thing? And I actually am serious when I say I like intelligent women, but if guys say like, I just want a smart chick, but he just really wants the hot chick.
And like,
is that the same? The funny?
It is the same thing because yeah, of course we want a funny guy. We want a guy that's going to make us laugh. And of course there have been guys where I've said I'm not attracted to him, but then he's so funny that I become attracted to him. We see this happen all the time. Yes. When stand-up comics get laid so much, you guys, so much. I bring a guy on the road with me to open for me. He's not famous. Huh?
Only male though.
Male. You have to be male. Okay, exactly. And so he goes on stage and for just 20 minutes and girls are DMing him afterwards, having seen him perform and want to bang him and come to his hotel later the next day and bang him. And he is super funny and he's cute and all those things, but like he would not be getting the ass he's getting if he wasn't on stage killing it. And it's listen, I know the game. I watch stand-up comedians and I'm like, okay, I know that trick. I know that they're magicians to me. I'm watching a magician and I know all the tricks. But even I can watch a guy on stage. And it happened to me early on a lot where I would like watch comedians and I was so obsessed with comedy that I would just be like, he's so funny. Like I need him. I want him. I shall get him. And I would have the same, I would be tricked into it too. There's a guy on stage, everyone's laughing. He has control. There's something almost animalistic about it that goes back to us being in tribes. I think it's almost like evolutionary in the sense that we are attracted to a guy who is holding court and saying, we will harvest in the spring and we will, like he's telling the whole tribe what we're going to do. We're going to hunt tomorrow. And it's like, that's our leader. And and we're like, I want that leader to impregnate me so I can make, there's something hot about a guy holding court. Women, not so much. Guys are just like,
I don't know.
So much.
So that goes down to the divide, right? Like I feel like women and men, there are the funny ones and there are the hot ones, right? Like they've always been divided into two segments, right?
Stereotype or can I just pat myself in the back for a second? I want to interject so many times while Nikki was talking.
I know you did.
And I just fucking
went on
listened.
A monologue.
And it was like, I was like, you're doing a great job, Nick. You're really doing good.
I'm going to start giving you accolades at the end of my...
Are you about to jump over at me because I got in first?
But like if you're watching, I was like scratching the seat, just like,
oh, Nick,
I get it, dude. I get it.
Just go.
Before you go, I wanted to ask, is this regardless if they're funny or not?
What do you mean?
These guys, comedians.
No, they have to be funny. They have to be funny.
If they bomb?
When you see... Yeah, if they bomb, then it's like awful. Or if they're not that funny. But if they're funny, oh man, I have fallen for so many dudes that should not be trusted or fallen for because they're funny. And so and I'm a comedian. I know the tricks. So I don't expect women who don't know the tricks to not be able to not fall for it.
Right.
It is, if you want to get laid as a guy and you're not that hot, become a stand-up comedian. It is a great way to get laid. And it is a reason that many men do it. And that's why women and men in comedy are quite different because women don't get into it to get laid. No.
I think that's talent in general though. Like we fall for talented people. Like in any field, like people who are magnetic and at the top of their field, CEOs and singers and all that thing. But I do want to go back to the point that there have always been two types of people, the funny and the pretty.
But you
Galifianakis and Bradley Cooper.
Do you say that? Do you say it's from a stereotype?
Stereotype,
Not
of course.
true.
Like Sarah Silverman and Margot Robbie.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the thing is when you're pretty
Margot
and
Robbie's
funny.
hysterical, or is it just that
I'm
I'm
not saying-
mesmerized
but-
by her beauty?
But immediately you
Nikki's
go
just
for
like,
Margot
"She
Robbie
can't
because
have-"
She's
Margot
so
Robbie.
funny.
She's
I mean,
hilarious.
that's the thing. Girls get such a hall pass if they are stunning, which actually, dude, she's really, that's what you hear.
She's like
she's
smart
really
and
funny.
interesting, and like I listen to everything she says.
Oh, how
like,
many?
How funny is Margot Robbie? What'd she
She's
say
an
that was so
old
funny?
soul. She's 22, but I swear to God, Nikki, you wouldn't even know. She's like has this old soul, and it's like, what about is her pussy?
She's so
an
mature
old-
for her age. Like, oh, she
I
says.
would love a guy to be like, she's 22, but she's got like this old pussy. That it's like it's always an old soul. Where's the young girl with an old puss and saggy tits?
I
It
probably
doesn't
have.
happen.
I probably have said. I've definitely gone
Oh,
out.
you've said
I've
it.
definitely gone out with a girl who is like truly stunning, and I'm just like
Dumb as a box of hair.
well, not necessarily, but I'm giving her every benefit of the doubt. Where it's just like she's anything interesting. I'm thinking, wow, you are so mature for your like.
You're just-
and if I'm going with a younger woman, like she's like 24, and I'm just like thinking, say something that shows maturity, so I can think.
Yes.
Please.
And then my friends can be like, yeah, no, she's set very mature for her age.
Yes.
You know,
But
like
that
my
just
friend-
means that she's been through a lot of trauma. That's like actually not a good thing when a girl is an old soul.
She's lived a full life.
Yeah,
and
she's been
only
in and out of
23.
rehab since 30. Exactly. If a girl has an old soul at 23, she's been through some shit, and maybe you don't even want to get it. It's That's always the one where she quit drinking at 13. It's like, why? What happened before that?
Poor Drew Barrymore.
Yes, exactly. Old soul.
But what do you think? I mean, do you think that we sort of have to like, because then when guys are like the guy on stage,
Yes.
we then, I mean, if he's not an asshole and he shouldn't be someone we shouldn't love, we then learn to love them more and more because they're funny and we learn to think they're hot. Do you think we fall into those two sort of categories?
Well, I do think that there is a lot of pushback when someone is hot doing stand up. As a group of comedians, we all go, get off stage. You don't deserve, because there's some comedians that are so hot, like model hot, where you go, why are you funny? And then they are funny, and it's always this. It's because they weren't hot until later. Like I'm a comedy 9. Okay,
What do you mean by they weren't hot until later?
they weren't hot. Like I didn't learn how to look attractive to men until I was 24 or something like that. So I had a whole life of being ugly to develop a personality. That's the thing.
So is that
Ugly
what it
people.
is?
Yeah, if you're hot from a young age and told you're attractive and all these things, you can't develop a sense of humor. You won't, because a sense of humor is a survival technique to get people to like you. And people don't like you when you're not attractive. So you have to be like, look, here's a joke. I'm worth loving. If you're already hot, you have no reason to develop a
But
personality.
Margot Robbie's
I don't know how to
hilarious.
respond to this. I have so many.
Have you been hot? How long have you been hot? When
Well-
did you get it together? When was the first time you were like, whoa, girls like me?
Here's what interesting. When I was 6,
No way.
it's what's interesting is like my time having been on the show. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I feel nervous, but yes, my whole life, all I remember is being complimented about my looks.
Wow.
my entire life. Like there
Yeah,
hasn't.
no, that's nothing wrong with that if that's
I'm
what
just-
happened to you.
Okay. So I was never insecure about that until I went on TV. And then it was like, I'm ugly.
Really?
Yeah, well, I
that's
mean,
so fascinating.
That was like, well, a couple things. One, like I really didn't think it's like this is a thing with Bachelor fans, like my glow up between my time. And I must have just really, my first season, it was really an ugly picture. And I think maybe just the ugly point in my life. I don't know. I just kind of.
No, you don't have it put together as much. You're not as like polished as you are now.
But
you are nowhere near unattractive. Like you are
Anyways, so
It's
like.
not an awkward phase.
you're a solid 9.
Well, I always say
You're
that.
a Wisconsin 10 faux show. You're a Wisconsin 13.
I used to always say, I used to think I was a 10, moved to LA, realized I was like, thought I was like a 6,
Yeah.
landed on like an 8, you know?
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
but-
yeah, I get it.
it probably wasn't until going on the show that that the key of like being funny, I really learned to lean on my insecurities and learn to lean
Make fun of yourself.
self-deprecating, and just kind of call out, but you have to be comfortable with yourself first.
Yeah.
And because otherwise it's kind of weird if you like really insecure about something and it's not a joke and it's just like sad.
Yes,
It's
it
like
can
this
get really sad.
dark,
Yes,
and
when
it's not
someone
funny.
says too much, or it's, but though, if I heard you making fun of something about, like, what's your go-to about your looks if you're like going to self-deprecate?
Well,
Because there's nothing that you could say that I'd be like, ugh.
well, I mean, I don't lead with my looks when I'm trying to be self-deprecating.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
And I'm not, well, that's why also like I find there's nothing less funny or more annoying than false humility or insincere self-deprecation.
Yes.
That's truly the worst.
Yeah.
Have you always watched The Bachelor?
Yeah. I mean, like for a long time.
So you're familiar with Josh Murray?
Josh
He
Murray.
was the guy who won Andy's season.
Yes.
I mean,
course.
listen, Josh is a lot of things, right? That I'm not a huge, like he has things to work on. Certainly plenty of things that he could probably make fun of himself and be funny for.
Yeah. But he would never.
He's notorious for constantly like talking about how overweight he thinks he is.
Oof.
But he's objectively a beautiful man.
Yeah, he's just he is.
He's truly hot. Like
that's the worst is when people are like, I'm fat. And
he
you're
would
like,
always, and like his
Right.
thing now is like, on Paradise, he ate a lot of pizzas. So when he's trying to be funny,
right.
that's his wheelhouse, like to think about
oh yeah, he was
how
with
much-
Amanda.
how much pizza he eats, which is like, that's
Eventually.
your big like self-deprecation is that you're hungry.
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
But he's a beautiful guy. But like that's a kind of reminder to me, like just how, and it's not funny. It's never funny. He's always trying to be funny when he makes fun of himself, but he always makes fun of
When a
himself
hot guy-
about how it's like you're hot.
Yeah,
You're
it
super
is.
hot, Josh.
It's so true. Just like when hot Instagram models are like, I look sleepy today. And you're like, oh, come off it. Like
I'm so goofy. Like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Oh yeah, but and they just want to be, I don't know what they're trying to do. You can't help how you look. And I'm trying not to resent just people who were born beautiful because it's hard not to resent them because they're just, they were given a gift. I remember my dance partner on Dancing with the Stars, Gleb Gleb, is the hottest guy I've ever seen in my life.
He is definitely the hottest person I've ever seen.
Wouldn't he top your list?
Easily. Every time I see him, like you're just not even guy or woman. He's fucking beautiful.
Thank you, Nick Viall.
He's
Thank you.
so beautiful.
Because I would be in practice with him and he would be like, being like,
He's
well, you need to
mesmerizing.
do this. And I'd be like, Gleb,
Michelle, can
you're
you pull this up?
so hot. Because his skin would be like glowing and dewy. Like he is one of the, and I couldn't.
Just as a person, he's stunning.
Gleb, Gleb. He is
ridiculous.
as hot as his name is disgusting. So those are correlated. His name's Gleb
Do you think, like,
Savchenko.
foreshadowing by his parents?
I was
Just
turned
trying
on
to, like,
the whole time with him. Like,
and like in
Oh, he's
person.
perfect looking.
He's
But
so
that's,
hot.
That's like nothing.
oh, that's not, that is like, that's a bad picture of
Yeah,
him.
it's
Like
a
a
bad picture.
truly terrible picture of him. And he
he's
looks
super nice.
hot. He's so nice. He's so dewy. He's so beautiful. And it was really hard for me to learn how to dance from him because I was like, you're so, I was distracted by his
Yeah.
hotness. I wasn't like trying to get him or anything. I was just like, Gleb, you're so hot. Do you know that? And he's like, I don't know what to say to that, Nikki. I just never know what to say.
I he's a buddy of mine, and like I
Yeah.
joke with him. 'cause
Look
I'm
at
like,
that guy. Oh my
Look
God.
at that. He's just
You know what I've noticed though?
he's confused, and he's just like, I
It's
tried.
like it was the best.
I've noticed. So I was a casting director before I was an acting coach, and I used to read these actors all day, these like beautiful actors. And I started to notice that the more beautiful the person that came in, the less burdened they were. And I used to think it must be so wonderful to walk through the world with this wildly unburdened sense of self.
When you may say burdened, what do you mean?
Like, if you're this beautiful man walking, like there was this one actor I can think of who was shockingly beautiful. And he had this perfect little husky puppy, and he would walk down the street and women would just look at him, and he had no sense of like trouble.
Yeah.
Like he would just walk down the street with no burden. And Nick, you kind of have that feeling to you sometimes where it's like, no burden.
Hot guy burdenlessness.
Yeah.
I find things to worry about.
No, I know you
Like,
do, Nick.
yeah.
You do, and you sometimes we worry together. I used to
figure out
say
how to
when I was
block
looking
her.
to date that I would never date someone who didn't go through an awkward phase. And then my husband never went through an awkward phase.
Well, that's
can't.
kind of like
can't
saying
do
I feel very uncomfortable dating someone who's never had their heart broken.
Oh, interesting.
It's just like, it's a scary thing to say, hey, have you ever like had your heart broken or got something you didn't want? And someone's like, nah. I'm like, oh, wow.
Okay, so if you ask a girl that the next time and she's like, no, and you're like, stay tuned. That's what you should say to her. I'll bring a load of pain and set you up for a great life with whoever comes next.
I got you, babe. You know? I got you.
Call me
Had you had your heart broken before Caitlin?
Yeah. I've had, before I went on the show, my first relationship was, I fell in love when I was 18. We dated off and on for 7 years.
Yeah.
And that really had a big impact on I broke up with her in the middle. I broke up with her. I ended the relationship and she broke up with me every other time. And every other time I was a mess.
It sucks, dude. It sucks. I don't even understand
and then I got cheated on. And then that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right. Why?
Because
cheated on?
Yeah. That was easily, my life changed when that happened. I felt like after I got over that breakup, I really felt like I grew up, and I felt like I am the person I am today for the most part after that, in a sense that because it was a very humbling experience, and it was, I think, kind of growing up, being the person complimented and kind of having no worry in the world. It was, and I've said this about this before, when you get cheated on, the first thought is always, how could you cheated on me? It's like, it's such a blow to the ego. And
that's a really good point.
When people and you get cheated on.
That's where he got humility. That's where he became funny and developed a personality, was he realized my looks aren't going to get me everything in this world. Someone chose someone else over me.
Yeah. Well, because when you get cheated on, people are always like, so like, what happened with the relationship? And you're just like, oh, it's just things end, you don't want to say it. No one's like, well, she fucked another dude and now they're together and she doesn't want to be with me. And it's because you're embarrassed to say that in public. Because that's what everyone should say. God. I mean, objectively.
Yeah.
Was he Gleb?
He was a 5. That was what made it hurt. He was like, he was a club owner. He was.
Let me tell you what I've realized when a guy
it was such
or
a blow
girl,
to the ego, but it truly it made me realize who am I? Anything can happen to anyone. It's just like I'm nobody. And this it was such a freeing experience to just be like, oh, fuck it. I just I got better at just saying, when people were like, what happened? I'd be like, yeah, she cheated on me.
Good.
And it was such a freeing experience to
incredibly truthful, Nick. I would say you're very good at being forthcoming, and I think that's probably a very difficult.
That was a significant aspect in my life that made me feel comfortable with letting people in. That people often go through. And my ex-girlfriend at the time, she was the type of person who you would ask her. She was so good at being perfect. She was, especially in Wisconsin, she was the 10. She was the valedictorian. She on paper had everything. And I remember, I'll never forget asking her a question more what are some things that you would like to change about yourself? She just sat there and she's like, well, nothing.
Burdenlessness.
Burdenless.
But that's not true. She was riddled with insecurities, right? Really? And so the point, it's just I think sometimes the burdenless people, everyone has insecurities. They're not as, right? And so I think they sometimes get used to people calling them perfect or calling the people who get complimented all the time. It fills this monster. And then sometimes people try to live up to that expectation. Meanwhile, they have insecurities like everyone else.
Nikki, would you rather have
that
monster?
Here's the thing.
No, I'm just saying,
actually,
and they try, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm just saying, and to live up to this ability to they don't want to admit they have,
of course,
their own. And so of course she had insecurities. She just didn't want to answer them. It was just I try too hard.
Hot people actually are more insecure than not hot people.
Yeah.
They really are. And they actually have a tougher life. I remember being in therapy and, years ago, and I had a really mean therapist who would just kind of shoot it to me straight. But she actually helped me with one of the meanest things that's ever been said to me. I remember I was getting ready for some kind of shoot, and I was like, I don't know what to wear, and I have to go get a dress. But then I'm thinking about I got to get hair extensions. I'm thinking a spray tan, and she goes, it doesn't matter. She goes, you're not a beauty. You never will be. You're not beautiful. You're average. And that's fine. And I was like, you can't say this to me. I was like, I'm all right. And she was like, you're not. You're average. And she goes, you're funny. That's what people are seeing for you for. And I was devastated by it. Years later, and it hurt so
I got called a 7 on the
bad.
show.
It hurts. But here's the thing. She goes, you're not a model and you're never going to be a model, Nikki. Let it go. And I think that for so long, I was so resentful of people that were just, because I have a sister who was born like with model looks. She just looks like a model. Oh, she was the child who would, it was me and my sister. And we would go to restaurants and hostesses would stop my mom and say, this child needs to be a model. And I would be like, hi, and what should I be? And they're like, a model train enthusiast. Like
Her assistant.
Learn, yeah, exactly. Learn a skill because you're gross. And so I was so resentful that I wasn't born just with model looks. And when my therapist said that, she said, I have models in here all the time. You don't want to be that because their whole self-worth is wrapped up in how good they look. And they haven't developed any, they don't know how to be anything else. And it sucks for them because we all are going to age. We all age and lose our looks. Even if you're the hottest person in the world, you're gonna age and lose it. And models have a really hard time because when that goes away, you have nothing else. You don't have any other self-worth. So hopefully they, like young Instagram models, are trying to develop some kind of other worth. Like Alexis Ren, I'm friends with her, the Instagram model Alexis Ren, one of the most beautiful people on the planet. And I'm always just like, what's it like being so hot? And she's like, well, I try to like be a kind person and have other forms of like self-worth. And she's working on it because she will be hot forever, but not as hot as she is as a 24-year-old girl. And it sucks. You're going to age. You're going to not be as hot as you are now someday. And are you ready for that?
I age gracefully. No, true. I admit to say that this is embarrassing. You say that I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'll never forget a conversation I had with my parents. I was 24 and I was going through one of my heartbreaks. And when I turned 25, I freaked out. Like, you'd have no perspective. Like when you're 24, you've never been 24, so it feels old,
Yeah. 25 is the age where people go, I'm old. I'm like, you can rent a car.
I freaked out at 25, right?
Okay.
And I'll never forget, I was like panicking and I like said this to my parents and I was feeling like I was like getting older or whatever.
Yeah, what's going on?
And I said to my parents, I feel like I've only been complimented for being good looking. I don't know what else to be. And I feel dumb, but I've never. I was in the car. I was dry. I will never forget that. And I always go back to that, thinking like how embarrassing it was to even admit that.
I love that you just admitted that because you're self-aware, and that probably was a turning point for you. What did they say, and what did you get out of that conversation?
My parents just thought I was being ridiculous. And
what do you feel now about it? Like you will be like an old man, and you will feel, girls look at you all the time now. You're tall, you're handsome, you're famous. Okay, they do. That you get checked out all the time. Whether or not you're perceiving it, you walk around and girls are treating you a certain way because you're hot, right? My dad is like was a hot guy too, and recently he told me, he was like, Nikki, it's really weird. Like I'm invisible to women, and it's different now. I'm invisible. I feel invisible as a 65-year-old man. He is, even if he's a hot 65-year-old man. 30-year-old girls aren't looking at you. 40-year-old girls aren't even taking you in. And are you ready to be invisible someday?
Am I ready? No,
not yet. No. But like, do you know what I mean?
I guess I don't think I now that I'm the rest of my day, I'm going to be pondering this reality. No, I mean, listen, I'll never forget that statement I said to my parents. I'm reminded about it at times when I have my neuroses and my insecurities. Listen, I'm single. I want to settle down. Also, I sometimes make life choices that make it difficult to settle down. But whatever.
Sure. Instagram models. Fire.
Fire would be the real one.
Googling how old is she?
That is so funny. Instagram model age, like name and then age. Is such a funny thing to. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Like what? Okay, fine. She slid into my DM.
Yeah, you wanted to make sure she's legal, right?
I assume
you don't want a Ryan Adams.
Oof.
Ooh.
What's that?
It's topical, yeah.
Topical. Ryan Adams, musician, kind of just got
Just got
busted
in a little trouble.
texting with a 15-year-old girl.
She wasn't the right age, yeah.
Right. But wait, I will say to you, Nick Viall, that I remember one post you put on Instagram, which you don't follow me, and that's kind of weird.
Oh
but
my God, can you do that right now?
don't worry
Let's
about
wait
it.
a second.
No, yeah. Listen, you'll get to it. You'll get around to it.
I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna slide after
God.
too.
Yeah, sure. Been waiting for that for ages. So, Nick, I remember one post I forget when it was, but it was like a couple months. It was months and months ago. And I've never commented on anything you've done before, but you like posted something where you were like at a party and you just looked like hot up against a wall. And you're like, when you see a girl that you can't approach, so you just hang by yourself on it. It was some kind of like post. And I
was really proud of that caption.
You were really, it was a real moment for you. And you were feeling that insecurity. And you were kind of just being this guy that was like, like, I'm scared to approach the hot girl. So I'm just going to hang out by myself. And I go, you're hot, tall, and famous. I don't believe this narrative for a second. I just commented that. Do you remember that comment?
I don't. But I can. Here's the thing. Wait. That wasn't an insincere comment.
Oh, I know it wasn't. But I was just like,
it happens all the time. I can't tell you how many times I see a girl I want to say hi to at a coffee shop.
That one. Go up in the plaid. The one where he's hanging in the plaid. I think that was it. Sees attractive woman, awkwardly leans against wall to put out the vibe, reviews 50 versions of Hello and Head, sees girl walk away, goes home, eats frozen pizza, life.
That happens to me all the time.
I bet. But I commented. I guess no one liked it enough for it to be. I really wanted you to see it because I thought it was funny, but I was just like, I'm not buying this.
So here, I have a friend. Who her name, well, actually, my friend Charlene. Some of you may know her. She's married now. Charlene Joint.
Awesome. Opera singer, right?
Yes, she's awesome. She's cool.
Great
she's
eyebrows.
Beautiful. She's awesome. And I love having great conversations with her. And she is old fashioned. And we're having coffee once, and she was giving me, she was asking me, how are you meeting girls? And she'll ask me, do you like just walk up to women and say hello? And I said, to be honest, I was ashamed to say I don't do it as much, And I think we've all gotten worse at it with things like social media.
Yeah,
you can see someone at the party, like, I'll just slide into her DM later. Saw you at a party, saw you at the grocery store. That happens all the time. Like, hey, I saw you at Whole Foods. Wanted to say hi. I was going to say hi, but I didn't. It happens all the time. But I'm just like that. And I get nervous too. So anyways, Charlene goes like, I want you to make an effort. I want you they're like, she was very complimentary. Like, women will be flattered if you go and say hi. So, and then I left a grocery store once a week later, and some lady who's maybe in her 40s or 50s stops me, and she goes, I don't mean to sound weird, but she was very complimentary. She's like, you're beautiful, and I want you to start saying hi to women. And she was like, just say hi, and even touch them because you'll make their day. And I was like, I don't know if I should touch them, but I'll work on saying hi.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm in New York. This is 4 or 5 months ago, and I was meeting a buddy. We were going to go to an event, so we met at a bar. So I'm sitting by myself, and this pretty attractive girl sits next to me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm literally thinking to myself, I'm gonna say hi.
Say hi.
I'm gonna say hi to this girl. I'm by myself, I'm having a drink. I'm waiting for my buddy. So I just was like, hey, how's it? I don't know what I said.
Yeah.
I don't know. I said something. She looks at me, turns her head.
No way.
Aww.
Now it was a loud bar. And I'm thinking, you know what? She probably didn't. I mumble sometimes. She probably didn't hear me. She was maybe just awkwardly nervous.
Sure. Get louder.
I try again.
Oh boy.
Looks me dead in the eye. Turns her head. And I'm just like, see, this is why I fucking don't do it, man. And again, she was cute, but I wasn't thinking there's, oh my God, unobtainable. It was just a cute girl at the bar just stared me down and just wanted nothing to do with me. And she was by herself. She wasn't with friends. She knew that she must have known.
Sorry, that was your experience.
No, it's fine, but it was
Take it back out.
It was
we gotta get more highs
out
of you.
It's funny that how the one time, listen, I've said hi before. It's
hard,
fine.
right? It's hard to approach people, right? Do you
never
approach people? What do you
because
do?
I want guys to come after me. I'm done going after guys.
Interesting.
That's the hard part because
you walk up, you're just like,
But then that puts all the pressure on someone else to do that, right?
Yeah, but if they like me enough, they'll come after me. I realize now, because I used to just be like, I like this guy, I'm going to start hanging out with him, and then eventually I'm going to be like, it'll get to a point where I go, I like you. Why do you think I'm hanging out with you? Like, why haven't we kissed yet? Why aren't you making a move? I'd be the aggressor. And then eventually we would hook up or whatever, but it would never go anywhere after that because the guy, you took some of the power away from the guy in that moment. And even though
If you approached him?
Yeah, if like, guy friends that I'm like, there's certainly a vibe here and they're just too nervous to make a move, I'll do this. This is the coolest move ever. Guys should take this move. If you're hanging out with a girl and you haven't kissed yet, that's like the most awkward moment of like, you haven't even touched
you're already
yet.
talking though.
You're hanging out like,
see,
there's a
I'm fine
vibe,
there.
right? Like but maybe it's a friend, someone you're not on a date, but it's like you guys are vibing each other, right? But you haven't touched yet. There's no real window to lean in for a kiss, or maybe there is, but you just don't know how to do it. My favorite thing that I've done, and I wish guys did this, is so you'll be one time we were just walking on the street, and it was just getting to that point where I was like, when is this guy gonna fucking like just do it, And I was really getting frustrated. So we were talking about something and I go, oh, you know what I wanted to tell you? And I made it seem super, I was like, you know what I want to tell you? He's like, what? And I was like, you should kiss me. And he was just like, what? And he was like, I go, you should kiss me. And it just cuts the tension. It's funny. And then they have no choice but to do it.
Totally. I've used.
Have you used that?
Something like to cut the ice. I mean, Sam knows I'm a pretty honest, blunt guy. And I've often just to like cut what sensual tension, I'll just call it out. Be like, I don't know. I was thinking maybe we should make out or.
Yes, that's great. That's it. Like,
so what do you want to do next? Well, I mean, other than like maybe throwing up you against the wall and making out with you, we could get ice cream or something.
I have to change.
Like,
Can we take a break?
I do that. I've done that all the time. Another really good move for the guys out there, if you are taller and she's any bit shorter and you're walking down the street, use the street curb. So you like walk a little bit ahead.
Throw her into the street?
No, like
throw her into the street and then rescue her.
No. She's still on the sidewalk.
Once she's been hit by her Uber.
She's on the sidewalk. And before if you're at, like, say you're at a crosswalk, right?
So she's up and
says
you go
no
down.
walk.
Makes more sense.
Right? And you find like a way to like step down on the street and then turn around and all of a sudden your faces are right next to each other and you're just kind of like, you get really close.
Dude,
and you go to that 90.
There's
and
a reason that you were on this Bachelor. These are good moves.
That works.
These are great
That
moves.
works out well.
But let me ask you guys a question. If you guys are both really direct people, and I love where all this conversation is going, what is the advice for people who aren't direct, who aren't as ballsy as you are,
You just
Nikki?
have to be.
You just change your DNA.
Like, no, not change your DNA, but it's like jumping in a pool. You know when a pool is going to be cold AF and you don't want to get in it. And so you either just jump in. Just
exactly
take a
like
risk.
that.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
It feels a little brisk, then it's fine.
It's fine. Everything's going to be fine because it's already always been fine.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to ruin your life by asking a girl if you can kiss her.
Think about it this way. Here's why it works is because like everyone's the same and you just have to try to be different. And when you surprise people, it turns people on, right? It
so
catches
good.
people off guard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like, for example, I just told that story. It doesn't always work. It's not that I've said hi to the girl at the bar who literally looked at me and turned around. So like, you just have to.
There will be times where you get rejected in these moments, but when it works, it's good.
Well, that's a good point, right? Like I always think about like play out the worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is she says no.
Yes.
He says no.
And
that's it.
And it's a little awkward and then you go home.
And going
that's
back
it.
to like our conversations last week, the thing I don't understand sometimes with guys, and I think people in general, but especially guys, is you are sometimes, if you're going to take risks, you're going to get rejected. Don't be an asshole afterwards. It's fine.
Yes.
Don't let your humility like overtake you.
Well, I wasn't even into you anyway. I was taking
fuck you. I don't know. I was doing you a favor, but
God, that's always great because then you go, oh, good. Okay. I read him right and I'm right to reject him because he's an asshole.
It was fine.
But the sliding into DMs, what's your move there? Because that's the new way. I mean, you really don't need to approach people in public if you can find out who they are. And then I'm always waiting for a slide. If I have a vibe with a guy, I love it.
I've been off the market for 10 years.
I love it.
I sometimes say hi.
Dating apps are obsolete.
I slid into a DM this morning. And
your morning slide.
This is my morning routine. I wake up, have a vegetable smoothie, slide into a DM, do some boxing. I just came across a really quite fetching person, and I was like, because I'm going to be in New York next week she lives in it
Lining some
obvious,
stuff up.
just lining up the schedule, you know.
Sure.
I got my day. My day's busy. My life's free.
Yeah.
And I went to go slide in her DM. Noticed that she had written me two years ago.
Great. Oh, so do you only slide if they're already following you?
No.
Okay.
I almost will never slide. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, listen. If I
Because
see,
at least that means that they know who you are and they're probably into you
sure,
if they're following you.
I take.
But you'll take risks. Okay.
But guys,
got it.
can you humor someone who has no idea what all this stuff is about? So it's a move now. You slide into someone's DMs and
You
it's
just go,
not
hey.
creepy. It's not. It's
no.
just a form of
Well,
communication.
It's just like saying, hey.
People
Yeah.
are very critical. It has this
I'm not
taboo
critical, I
thing.
just don't know.
It's a taboo. And then people are like, well, why doesn't anyone like write notes or love letters anymore? Because that's what DMs was back.
Yes.
You couldn't do it. You had to like write a note. That was sliding into a DM, leaving a note.
Oh, no,
like,
I just didn't know if it was
And there's
What
viewed
is
as,
the same
no
thing?
way
creepy.
to do it. The thing is, if the guy is hot and you're into him, he could say whatever and you're going to be into it. Like there's no like, right. Because guys are always like, how do I get in your DMs? What should I say? I'm like, if I want to bang you, you could say whatever you want and it will work out.
Yeah,
there's
but
no
I try sometimes
Yeah,
to
I mean,
have him. So
be
I had
funny.
noticed that she wrote me. She was referencing. She had basically said, "I've never seen the show, but this is hysterical." It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had never seen it, so I just went really. I was just like, "Hey, I'm going to be in New York. Let's grab a drink if you're around."
Great.
Really cut to the, hi. Don't just say hi. Like I'll get that, just a hand wave.
Oh, the high is
Hey.
terrible, actually.
I mean, just say, "Hey, I'll call
Okay,
you."
yeah,
I will call
you can
myself
fuck it up.
outside, like sliding over here with a hand of.
I love that.
hand
That's
up,
funny.
like, just over here.
That's funny.
Shooting my shot, something like that.
That's good.
I have a date tonight with a comedian.
Really?
If she doesn't cancel,
Oh my God, I'm dying to know who.
wanna know
Off
too.
air.
This is where I got clever, but I was looking at her. I slid into her DM. I came across this profile, and she had like one of her routines up there, and she had this like soundbite, and her basically routine was, it was poor guys are really good at sex, and rich guys are bad, and because poor guys like can't afford to take you to dinner, so they'll take the time to have really long sex with you because they're trying to like outlast until like
Yes.
only McDonald's is open or something
That's
like
great.
that. And rich guys, like they don't have the time to like fuck you a really long time.
'Cause they're working.
Because they're just like working, making money.
That's good.
So my DM to her was, I'm not so rich that I'm terrible.
Great.
I can still like pay for the meal, but it won't be so great that I don't get like, that I'm not giving maximum
You're
effort.
somewhere in between. Yeah, I like that. I like the reference. That means you've watched her.
I've taken
also,
some
your
time.
expectations are like not so high that you're
Yeah.
going to be let down.
It's like your meal will be totally fine, but I still like, I won't be so confident that I won't like want to, give it my all.
bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're going to bring your
That's
B
great.
game, I think.
I mean, she wrote back right away.
Love it.
So-
It's
Yeah,
really
that's
exciting.
good. What are you guys gonna do?
I don't know. She probably will, like,
I'm dying to know who it is. What it is? It's probably someone pretty young though. How old is she? Old soul.
I think she's 27.
Okay, so I might know her. Okay, well
Okay.
we'll talk about it.
I bet
afterwards.
I would bet you know her.
It's really exciting.
Oh, I know who this is. Is it?
Don't say it.
Okay.
I'm trying on this podcast to open myself and share my stories without becoming a dating liability.
Yeah, I get it. I know. I am that. Yeah.
You're a dating liability
I just think that
because you use your life as
Yeah,
your
I
stand-up?
have a radio show every morning. I talk about my sex life. I talk about stuff on stage. I'll never say anything disparaging about a guy I date unless you really do something terrible. But I will also never call you out by name because I just think that's tacky. But
I get sensitive because like more than anything, if people give a shit about me, they give a shit about who I'm dating and who I'm not.
Yeah.
So I'm also extra cautious to like call out who I'm hanging out with or going out with because I haven't run that by them.
yeah, that's
And
nice.
I think that's kind of
Aren't those lines a little fuzzy though? I mean, we've talked about this before, but because you are famous and have become famous from a reality show, how do you then draw those lines? And you're putting yourself back out there on a podcast and promoting things you want people to buy. Like, aren't the lines really, really fuzzy? Like,
sure, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't know the person who I may have an interest in and what their thought. Like, it's all just a matter of opinion.
It's Nikki.
So what I'm saying is I don't want to ruin my chances with getting to know someone I'm interested in getting to know by them like by assuming I'm a liability
Right,
or
of course.
and they don't
no,
know.
that's good.
No,
and
it's
so
fair.
I I don't want to. I want to be respectful of that, and
that's nice. No, I like that a lot.
One more thing before we move on to The Bachelor, since we didn't cover it last week, I do want to talk about the difference between funny and mean.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to the internet. And the whole reason I got this idea for this, having Nikki on and talking about humor and comedy, and we use humor on dates. And sometimes I think often when people are trying to be funny, they fail by not being funny, but also just ended up being mean because they think they're supposed to lean into insecurities or whatever instead of their own. And this happened to me when I was on Twitter, and I saw a girl I follow. She's a writer. And we've had a contentious friend, we're acquaintances, whatever. And she posted on her Twitter a screenshot of her dating app. I think it was Bumble or Hinge or whatever, I don't know. And it was a conversation between her and this guy. She crossed off the guy's name, and it was, her caption was dating in LA. And it was basically the conversation. The guy said, hey, I have a part-time job at a movie theater, but I'm also a screenwriter and a director, and I'm pretty sure that my movie is going to, win many awards, and you're going to want to date me. It was a very cliche kind of LA thing to do. Mm-hmm. So for fun, just kind of like play off her line, but thought I'd be self-deprecating, and I kind of leaned into my own, insecurities of being single.
You were making a joke.
And I wrote, was it my job at the movie theater that was the deal breaker? I thought it was kind of funny, playful, giving her an opportunity to do some yes and kind of playful. She just simply writes back, no, it was your 4 times on reality TV. And I read it and just like, well, I'll just go fuck myself. Like, because the point is like, that's a legit insecurity I have of being interested in, not that I was interested in her or anything, but being interested in somebody. And if I get a chance to meet someone, or if it's I slide into someone's DM or whatever, and it's someone, say, of note, or it's someone that I'm just impressed by, my first insecurity is always, do they know who I am? And not because I want them to know who I am because like, oh, as The Bachelor is. Do they know who I am, and how do they feel about that?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, right? And so I'm reading this thinking, wait, is she deliberately trying to be? I think it's pretty obvious. I also, when I say that, I don't think this is groundbreaking news that that might be an insecurity of mine, because it's like something that it's like, if you want to like Google like how to make fun of Nick, that's up there, right?
Yeah.
Memes of like, always going back on The Bachelor.
Sure.
And so it's like, clearly it's like, wait, did she think that was funny? Was she trying to be mean, or was it both? But meanwhile, like, the joke just ended.
Can I ask
like,
a question before you guys talk about this?
Yeah.
I often worry about tone being misread over text.
Mm-hmm.
Like
There's
email,
that too.
text.
So
like I'm always the one who's like putting in 4 exclamation points and 5 emojis, especially in my work emails, because I don't want my tone to be misread.
But if you're going to try to be funny, especially via text, don't maybe make fun of something you think possibly they could like struggle with. Point out something about yourself.
So what's your take on that, Nikki?
I think that this girl probably isn't that funny. Mm-hmm. So I think that's probably part of the issue. She was trying to be. I can tell you,
she definitely likes to think she's funny.
Well, then she was trying to be funny, failed at it, went too mean. Because you're right. It's like when you're teasing someone and being flirty, it can be mean sometimes. And then she went overboard. I think that you're approaching it with this is my biggest insecurity. How did she nail it so much? And it had hurt you. I don't think she knows maybe that is your biggest. Maybe she does.
I would be shocked if
she doesn't. Then it's just mean, and she doesn't like you.
That's also possible.
So I think that maybe she really just doesn't like you.
Well, no, I definitely.
And that's okay.
Like she certainly comes across that she thinks she's better than everyone who's ever been on the show, even though she's obsessed with the show. But that's
right. Okay.
That's how she comes across.
Well,
anyways,
it's hard because I have a lot of guys that want to be funny because I'm so funny. Like they feel the added pressure to be funny with me DMing or even going out on dates with guys. Like if you're trying too hard, and then they'll say something mean, and it's just shows me a lack of understanding of what is funny. Yeah, and then I'm just kind of like, we're not talking the same language. And
and if you're going to try to be funny, fine. fail at being funny by making fun of yourself. Like the easiest way to be funny is sincere self-deprecation. Find something that you might be insecure with that might be out there and obvious,
But
right?
Nick, that's for people who know how to be funny. This person didn't know how to be funny.
We're coaching them up. We're out here coaching people up.
Go make fun of
Nikki,
yourself.
Aren't you like a big part of the roast battle scene?
Yes.
That's slightly different, is it not? Because
what's the difference?
Because you sign up to be roasted.
You sign up to do that. But like any guy who was ever would say something mean to me, done. Like especially initially, like or even that is mean spirited, that is trying to, like she was, poke at something that she knows that you're insecure about. Cut off. Not a good friend. Not a good acquaintance. Not a good. No.
Could you imagine going on a date, right? A guy listens to this podcast, and on the first date he's on with Nikki, he makes some like snarky joke about her sister and their relationship.
Oh, if a guy ever, because I'm very vocal about my sister's hot, and if someone was to ever say something about my looks, even though I'm fine with my looks, I would be like, you're mean, and you don't like me, and I don't like you now.
I could picture a guy trying to be funny and trying to do that. And it's just like, when you're trying to be funny, just point out something that you are, like, be it, like, listen, people sometimes, we project our insecurities all the time, right? And people are aware of them all the time. So find something you're comfortable about talking about and point it out.
Yes.
And then you can both have a laughing moment, and that it'll make the person, especially if you're on a date, feel more comfortable with being like, hey, it's like, and trust me, it definitely works. That's how you break the ice on a first date, is kind of like point out something that like you're not good at, or they might already be thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
And immediately they can be like, well, yeah, actually me too. And you're like, oh my God, we're like perfect for each other.
So fascinating that is your insecurity. I wouldn't have thought that about you, but of course it is. I mean, of course you're getting a lot of judgment from that, from women. But
we also judge ourselves though too.
Yeah,
and I also know that like I totally judge the fuck out of me for it. So,
yeah, like you wouldn't want a girl who's like, you maybe would judge a girl who's been on as many reality shows as you. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
My first thought would be like, I wonder. We all have judgmental thoughts, and the difference between having a judgmental thought, right? Because we can't help but have a thought. That's thoughts go through our head. What we do with those thoughts. So I could sit there and see a girl, whatever she does, and judge her. That happens. But do I still like go out of my way to get to know that person? There's a difference there. Like, do you judge and cut them off, or do you judge and go, well, that's a judgment, but I'm actually curious.
Yes.
I want to sit down and like learn. Is she the stereotype that I think I'm judging? I think she is, because I also love to be surprised.
Yeah, and how often are we surprised? All the time.
When we give her an opportunity to be surprised, we are often surprised.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the smarter you are, the faster you can read people and hit people where it hurts immediately, but you don't do that, right? Like, you hold back what will hit people. I think mean is unacceptable in any circumstance, and it's getting more and more acceptable.
Especially on the internet, where you can just
anytime.
tweet
We're
something
not
or
allowed to
comment
be mean
something
to each other. We're taught from a young age, don't be mean. So that's why it's not funny. That's why it's not like, it's just not cool.
It really isn't.
It's just not okay. It shuts us down as people.
And guys do it a lot because they read and girls do it too. The game, you know, negging a girl, making her feel insecure about. There's something in your hair. Well, you're a little dirty. You're like, I want to fuck you because you just pointed out that I'm less than you, and I want to be more than you now, and so be inside me. Like it psychologically fucking works. Yeah. Like when someone puts you down, you're like, well, I want to prove to you that I'm great and fuckable. And it makes you like them. It does work, and it's short term. Yeah, it can, but when you get older, right? Like if a girl's mean to you, you're like, ugh. And if a guy's mean to me, I'm like, ugh.
Well, it happens because your self-worth is so much better, and you want to protect yourself and the people around you. All you want to do is say, go away, go away. Like,
I used to always be into guys that like weren't into me. Like I think that's a classic thing that most women and men go through. Now I'm 34, and I'm like, if you're not into me, get out of here. Yeah. Well, like, first of all, you're wrong. And get out of here. Go find someone else then. Like
one of my biggest weaknesses as and this is not before TV. I've always had a strong personality. I've always been opinionated, and I've always sometimes if you don't know me at a distance, like can come across as a cocky dick, right? Yeah. And I've had, you know,
because you're handsome and tall.
I've had girls like come up to me.
You have no reason to be nice, so
like,
you go, he's a dick.
And come up to me and be like, I you're not that great. You're not. And in my head, I'm thinking, all I care about is you falling in love with me.
I know it works.
And I, and then going on TV and being the villain at first, and like, I mean, I can't tell how many times like my past 4 years of my life have been a constant like barrage of, I used to not like you, but wow, and it's like it's like kind of a drug. It's an unhealthy one.
If you want to get Nick Viall, tell him that you're not that into him, is what I'm hearing.
It works.
Yeah, it shouldn't work. You need to work on yourself because that's not good.
I'm being honest. I'm
Nick,
not bragging.
Don't do that. You're great. And
I'm just being vulnerable here.
You're such a piece of shit. Like, I don't even see it.
I think Nikki
I don't get it.
used to be into you, but she's kind of
I like have changed my way. It almost happened within like 30 seconds ago. I just realized that you're like not even that cute. It's like whatever, dude. Yeah, that is. You need to work on yourself clearly because
No, I do.
Because there are so many things that.
This is not always, but I admit that.
I like that you admit it because
that's the thing.
Everyone listening relates to this. And I even still relate to it. When a guy isn't into me, there's a part of me that's like, win him over. Get a way to get him to like you. Mm-hmm. And then once he does, I'm like, bye. Like I've done that so many times to guys where they don't like me. And I'm like, they'll go, I don't date female comics. Because I've dated a lot of comics that make that rule that go, I don't date female comics. And I go, what was that for?
I don't want to interrupt you. So
yeah, please raise your hand. Yes, Nick Viall.
But that's kind of the point because that's just a dick thing to say. I don't date. It's also it's a cheap joke. It's not funny. I don't date female comics.
But they're serious. They are. They go, I don't like to date in the business. And I go,
they're not as, I don't
How
think.
many guys I've gotten who have said that to me and I go, challenge, accept it.
Yeah, but I don't think they're as serious as you think they are. It's the same person who comes up to me and like does the whole reality. It's like, I mean.
They can always be convinced is the thing.
Well, yeah, they're like, and then that's the thing. It's like, well, I do like the girl who doesn't like me, sure. But the girl who comes up and just is kind of a bitch and just like not funny and like, like the cheap joke.
Trying to hurt you.
Like,
yeah.
You're not even that good of a dresser. It's like
this is so fucked up.
Girls say this all the girls
like
and guys.
I'm like, okay. Or like, I've said this before, like randomly people have this thing where they don't want to admit they watch The Bachelor. And it's always the people who are obsessed with the show the most. I mean, like, I don't watch the show, but like, why is everyone here like wanting a picture with you? I don't get it. Like, I don't, who are you?
And
like,
that girl wants you more than anyone.
And I'm just thinking like, I'm immediately annoyed. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's
like that doesn't work because it's just like, it's not funny.
Funny.
If a girl thinks I'm invisible or she sincerely thinks that I'm an asshole, because I know I can be a dick, but I'm not a dick. Yes. And so I want her to get to know me. Right. It's just more of when I feel like people are judging me for not knowing me, I have this like insecurity or whatever it is, this fucked up thing.
I get it. There's a difference between, because people say that too. They're like, literally, I went to the show tonight and I did not like you. Walking into the show tonight, I was like, my boyfriend brought me, like girls say that a lot. Even guys are like, social media, I hate you. But like, you were amazing on Rogan's podcast. And I'm like, you didn't need to say the first part.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just say the next part. They say, girls, if you're listening right now and you plan on meeting a celebrity someday, or men, you plan on, don't insult them and then give the compliment. Just give the compliment. It happens all the time.
No, and because I was the villain and then
I bet it happens to you constantly.
I mean, everyone thinks they're doing me the consideration of being the first person.
I hated you at first.
Or the person who's like, just so you know, I've always been a fan. It's just like, it wasn't just you and my mom. There were like,
you're acknowledged even that, because there's no insult in that, but even that is acknowledging that most people don't like you, but I like
do.
you. It's not nice.
They're doing me the favor of being like, listen, I was there for you when other people weren't. Just, I get so many every day. Everyone wants to tell me they're the first person to ever like me.
Of course, I can see that
and I
so
much.
much.
I want to like put it like my insecurity wants to put it in my insecurity. See, no, there's so many of you. Like you, like I was always like and like
I'm sorry. Girls can pretend like, because I've been on a bunch of Bachelor podcasts. I'm like very aware of the scene. And Arden Mirren. Do you know her? She's Will You Accept This Rose?
Oh, yeah. But not, when you say Bachelor, I mean like the Bachelor people.
Like fans of the like talking about Bachelor.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty.
Arden's great.
Arden is great. And I remember doing some event and and I was going over who the hottest dudes were, and I mentioned your name,
Yes.
and there were some in the crowd like, no, and I go, girls, like I get that maybe he was villainized, and I know that I'm doing exactly what I just said don't do, which is like tell someone that someone might have said something mean about you, but I'm just saying this. Any girl who goes, Nick isn't that great, they're like dying to fuck you. Like they would do it because I was at a live show. This really happened. And I was like, because they go, who are the hottest bachelors? And I'm listening and I go, Nick Viall, like, dude, so hot. And some girls go, no, like, boo, or whatever. And I go, I stood up and I go, listen to me right now. If any of you in this room, if Nick even gave you the slightest chance to blow him, you would do anything to do it. You right there that's acting like you're too good, you would pay money to blow Nick Viall. You would do anything. And I don't believe any of you. None of you are as attractive as him. You would kill for him.
I really appreciate this.
I like stood up and got so mad because I go, you're lying to yourselves to think that you wouldn't go after him because first of all, you don't know him, and he's way hotter than any of you in this bar in Austin, wherever the hell we were.
Here's what I have noticed, but I get a lot.
So I defend you.
Thank you. I get a lot of.
I
love that I just did the same thing that I told people not to do. Like most people didn't like you in that room, but I like saw you for you. So that is not what happened.
But here's what I.
No, you had a lot of support in that room. By the way,
here's what I noticed though when I meet people in person. I know if someone if they don't say that, I know if they liked me before they met me or not, because if they liked me in the show, they'll just talk to me and they might compliment me. And anyone who goes, I'll be like, look at me and be like, wow, like you're like way hotter in person. I immediately know that they didn't like me, right? Because they'll project whatever they saw, that they watch the music and be like, his face, he's gross.
Yeah.
And if they tell me that they think I'm better looking in person, I know they didn't like me.
I get that a lot too. And I'm always like, that hurt. Like I'm trying my best on TV. And
like, wouldn't you rather be hotter in person? Like 9 million people didn't see me like in this bar, but like on TV, I'll never meet you. So yes, I would prefer you just think
That's actually a good point. Yeah, I would prefer to like be hotter on TV when you say, because people do think, they go, isn't that a nice thing to say though? And I'm like, not really.
There are people,
you thought I was ugly.
There are people on The Bachelor who are definitely hotter on TV.
Sure.
And I'm like,
it is
kind of
weird.
Jealous. I'm just like, oh, you've tricked them all.
Some
because
people are telegenic. Some people there is one girl from The Bachelor that I watched, and in person she's beautiful, but on camera I'm like, she shapeshifts. Like you wouldn't recognize her in person. I bet she doesn't even get recognized because she looks so much different. I'm not gonna say.
Rochelle's trying to segue.
No.
Yeah, she wants us to tell.
Okay,
Let's get into the episode
talk
a little
about
bit.
Oh my God, I had notes on my phone, but my phone's gone. But I have so much to talk about this one.
You talk.
Okay, so
what'd you think about this episode?
I am like this drama in the house. These girls.
Did he not jump the wall yet? What the fuck?
Oh yeah,
I thought it was
dying for him to
happen.
jump
they
the
were
wall.
leading for us to jump the wall, and then he
The
didn't.
show is
they are just
that's the
banking
new
on
Jump
that
the Shark.
episode.
Is
They do that
like
a lot,
that
though,
show
by the
jumped
way.
the wall. Colton jumped the wall on that
agree.
show. Here's the thing. These girls that are conniving to say that they're not there for the right reasons, everything, they're jealous because those girls are prettier and he's more into them and they can sense it.
What was
obviously.
the Kaylin thing?
Who do you
now?
believe?
I really hated who was the girl that said that had the glasses on and wait, can you go up or go down? I forget.
I can
No. It was the one that was ratting out. And she goes, I just want to say that. So someone on their exit interview, I forget the name, Kirpa. But someone on their exit was like, they're not here for the right reasons, right? Mm-hmm. And then another girl told him that. But in between, the first girl said, he's not here for the right reasons. They're not ready to get married or whatever. Which, why is that? And Colton keeps going, that's the worst thing I could ever hear.
Of course she's not ready to get married.
They're not ready. It's like, you're not ready, dude. No. You're projecting. You're not ready. And that's the worst thing you could realize about yourself is that you're not ready and he's not ready. And why is that the worst thing? The worst thing would be like none of them are into you.
The worst thing would
not
be
being
like,
ready. It makes sense.
They all are like drowning puppies in the backyard. Like he is treating this like it is.
That's The Bachelor.
He's shocked by this every day. Like
but you're right. He is projecting.
He's not ready. And these girls are such bitches to those girls. I don't like those two girls anyway. I think they're not there for the right reasons, but like I think
Cassie
they do
and
want to be
Kaylin?
bachelorettes. Cassie and Kaylin. I do think they
Kaylin
want.
for
They want to
sure.
either win or they want to be a bachelorette. Like I get it, and all these girls do. I would be there for the same, probably the same reasons, but for them to for Sherpa, what's her name?
Kirpa.
For Kirpa to say to him, you know what? The only evidence I have for them not being here for the right reasons is
their
that
reaction.
their reactions is not evidence. That would be thrown out in court.
Especially in that world, because all you are is tense and nervous. And
They got really defensive.
I will say when in that world. So if someone were to ask me, who do you believe? I believe everyone. It's true. Everyone's kind of telling the truth.
Yeah,
they're
you're
all
right.
telling their version, and part of it is because I'll never forget on Caitlin's season. They didn't. I don't think they really aired this, but it was the weekend in Ireland after we hooked up, right?
Yeah.
And I was nervous about that because, I didn't tell any of the producers. I know it kind of edited. It seemed like I implied, but I was just like, certainly after Andy, I was like, I'm not fucking saying shit. The producers, I knew the producers knew, but I'm like, I'm not saying anything, And then Sean, I didn't know this, but that week Sean had snuck over. I didn't know he was sneaking over. So Sean and I, the two guys who clearly are confident, all the other guys are kind of figuring out, but Sean and I, we didn't know what was going on, but we both thought we were the one, right?
Yeah.
And Caitlin comes in, starts a cocktail party, and I think it was probably a little bit rehearsed, and maybe like producers might have asked her to like scare the shit out of us, and she fucking did. And what they aired is Sean was like in the background being like, I know what she's talking about, it's blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I had just cooked up. I'm thinking like she's about to send me home.
Right.
Like I was terrified. So the point is, the people in the world who have the most to lose are the usually ones who react the most about the lead's reactions and comments, because they truly don't know the fuck's going on. No matter how confident you are in that world, they're going on other fucking dates. So like, you're just always freaking out. So the fact that they got nervous or defensive is meaningless.
Doesn't mean anything. They all should be that way. Yes.
I also believe that the women who are calling them out, in the sense that, because especially early on, there's all these conversations and there's always talk about like, what is this going to be like when we're done filming? Like comments about the Bachelorette or the Bachelor. It does
those come up.
That happens all the fucking time.
Hannah B.
What happened to
I
Hannah
really
B?
did not see that coming.
She didn't see it coming.
Oh, I saw that coming from a mile away.
What?
Just 'cause I was
How?
the Bachelor.
Yeah,
But
tell
how?
us why. Tell us how.
We don't
Tell
know
us the
what
secrets.
happened. That was the only exciting thing that happened last night. It was
I
like,
thought, I was like, this girl's gonna win. When
Me
he
too.
brought her in to meet his family, and she's
That's
just
the
like,
classic setup.
well,
Really?
tell us, because
Oh my
last night felt like a filler episode to me. It felt like they
interesting.
needed
It was the classic.
2 hours
But Nikki, they
before we
showed her
jumped the
making that
fence.
lion roar. Rawr.
It was
I
creepy.
know.
It was a classic setup of like building something up for the epic disappointment.
Right, but it felt
again,
like-
I always like, listen, the only person who didn't get a group date rose on my season was Vanessa. Right. And my point is, just because you get these like signs of like the rose is meant to like valid, everything is supposed to mean something in that world. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't mean shit. Right. And so I'm watching it, especially that week. That week is always the week before hometowns.
Yeah.
Is like, there's 2 or 3 one-on-ones in the group date. And so every year, everyone's just like, I have to be one who's getting the one-on-one. I have to. I'll tell you what, every year, someone who gets a one-on-one's going home.
Yeah,
year.
that's a good point.
So like, it's not a sure thing. Everyone thinks it is. Everyone's like, oh, if I get a one-on-one, he likes me the
and
most.
especially if he brings me to his family.
Oh my God.
Is that like a formula? Does he
It's not
usually
necessarily
send someone
it's
home?
not always a formula, but it's
You're
listen,
right. You're right,
But
dude.
if objectively and truthfully, it is an opportunity. If a lead at going into hometown is certain by like, say, someone like Hannah G, or Cassie, it's like, I know I'm taking him to hometowns.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about, say, Hannah B or someone else.
loved Hannah
So
B.
Me too.
I'm gonna like, get to know who they are and see if there's something there that I'm missing. He probably went into that date thinking he's probably gonna send her home, but wondered if maybe more time with her.
She would win him over, or they would have some. Yeah,
so
that's
like,
a good point.
as soon as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, she's definitely going home.
Oh boy.
It was the classic setup.
God, just seeing her face when she's in that romantic, she had the best day of her life.
She looked like she wanted to unload on him, but it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like her pageant pageant side was like starting to take over, and then her other side started to take over. Like
She handled it really well, and then I think she was like, "This is fucked up."
I know
in the
that's what
car.
happened.
I was like,
She was
"She's
like,
cussing."
it was coming, but her pageant coach wasn't there to
Hannah B
help.
really grew on me. Like, she's
loved
she's
her.
cool. Like she's probably a fun hang. She got a lot of shit with the whole because like she obviously is a goofball and she will have these facial expressions, but she's probably a totally fun, cool hang.
I was like, I love this girl. I want
liked her.
Did she get knocked off too soon to be considered for The Bachelorette, you think?
Probably.
Oh, damn it. I think she's got it.
But they stopped following the formula for pulling people. It used to be like
It's not
there used
it's
to be-
not a
There's
paint
no-
by number.
you
can
can
do-
Ari.
There are no rules on The Bachelor. Have you realized this? There's no rules.
There used to
You
be
can
rules.
break all the rules. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Kinda like
You started that.
Pioneer
I mean,
here.
a little bit, but not everyone.
You're
But-
so right. You were the first one to just be like, I'm just gonna go like that. There are no
You know
rules.
what it is?
Break
it's
all
what
the rules,
Twilight
bitches.
did to vampires,
Well,
right?
is it what it is?
So now they can sparkle. It's
What-
like
Yes.
Here's what it is a little bit too, is that, the leads, especially The Bachelor, are always very nervous about, like, they want to fall in love, but every lead is aware of the fact that they're being criticized, even when they try not to think about it. So the lead, especially the men, are judged by who they carry along, right? Your taste in women is a reflection of yourself, as like that's how women are judging you often. That happens, right? And
yes. Yes. That's a good point.
Typically, if there's an obvious villain, the leads are less reluctant to like bring them along. I like on my season on Andy, no one never thought while filming I was going to maybe be a villain until later on. There wasn't like an obvious villain. We were all kind of like thinking, who's it going to be? And the producers were like, well, he's assertive, and so like, fuck it, we'll just make roses seem fucked up. Like we'll make poems seem really weird and creepy. But at the time, they didn't really
there
know.
wasn't one
They didn't
yet.
really know, right? And so, like for me, I was like, fuck it, I want to meet the nanny. So like I brought Corinne, and I kind of like had a connection with Rachel, Raven, and Vanessa that was different than the rest. So like, let's bring Corinne. Fine, it's fun, right? And
oh
so
my
that
God,
allowed
dude,
that allowed the
with
producers.
Corinne on that shopping excursion. Was that
It was
you?
wild, yeah.
That was so funny. What were you thinking?
I was thinking like,
What, like I'm gonna get a new blazer?
I was thinking
what
like
were
this is gonna
you-
be a fun send off, and let's have. But what I was actually thinking is like, this is gonna be fun. Like again,
Did you let her go after that?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and I knew like it was
You
always.
knew.
I was always my top three were distinctly like I had real connections with them, and while Corinne's cool,
Yes.
like whatever, it could have been anyone, but
Yes.
not everyone had a nanny.
Right.
So like I always
yeah.
thought it was fun. It would be fun to like bring Corinne along, and I
That's-
knew also I was gonna get fucking
Did she
criticism
know?
for it.
Do you think she knew?
Honestly, I couldn't tell sometimes
Yeah.
with Corinne. I really couldn't tell. Sometimes I thought like, cause she'd do this crazy shit. And I thought to myself, she's in on the joke. Like she knows what she's doing. She just wants to get the attention.
Yeah.
And there would be times where I was like, oh, I feel bad. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm an asshole. I'm
God,
leading her on.
Are you done? Would you ever do it again?
No.
No, you're done.
God, I hope there's more for me in this world.
I mean, there definitely is, but like, is there something about it that you miss?
I miss the people sometimes.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, the
Production?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like there's aspects of it filming. Paradise is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
If I could do Paradise without it being on TV, that's just a fun time.
yeah.
Live on a beach for
dying.
3 weeks, get amazing food, and hang out with your friends and have a good time.
And,
it was
like-
chill as fuck.
It sounds so fun.
It was
Yeah.
a lot. It was fire.
It was
I had
Really committed to
a
that.
lot of fun filming Paradise, but
Yeah, who did you end up with there? Like you were in a thing, but
I
it
was
didn't really
dating
take off.
Jen.
Jen, that's right. Yes. She
Yeah.
was like so sweet.
So
we
sweet.
knew you guys weren't gonna make it. It was just kind of an island romance. But you guys were both respectful of each other.
Yeah, I
It was
thought
good.
so.
It was good. You had a good showing on that. You were absolutely de-villainized at that
That was
point.
my really coming out party because
Because that was before you became the Bachelor, right?
that was why I became the
Oh,
Bachelor.
that is why.
Well, it was also because
Got it.
Sam asked me like why is no one funny on The Bachelor or Bachelorette?
Yeah.
and that's because they keep the playbook. It's
Yeah.
that like no one's interested in your humor. They're interested in did your like brother die of polio, and are you able to overcome that and still find love?
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
right.
like that is what it's all
Yeah,
about.
we only see the sense of humor, which is so frustrating in the last little after clip, the last 22 seconds,
Yes,
or
you're
on
right.
Paradise. And I'm like, wait, where was this the
on
whole
Paradise,
episode?
I was like, oh my God,
her.
Nick can tell a joke. It was because they were more willing, because on Paradise, I was basically waiting for Jen to come. And also like you're there to observe everyone else. It's not about like stealing
people
dates.
really shine
So
on
I could
Bachelor
just
in
sit,
Paradise.
I could
for
just
sure.
sit there and I was just commentating about like everyone's ridiculousness
that's
and just
so
kind of having
fun.
fun and doing impressions. And they're willing to show it because Paradise is a comedy.
You're right. It is a comedy. And that is where we all were like, oh, there's something about this guy that is more than what we saw in the
Yeah.
past
And
season.
then
That was
as,
good.
you know, and then
Did you know? Did you know that you were setting yourself up to become the Bachelor?
Oh my God, no.
You didn't?
No,
Oh my
I mean
God.
it was a swan song. I mean, the truth is, I was hoping there would be an outside chance to get on Dancing with the Stars.
Sure.
And they really wanted me on Paradise, and they kind of like teased the possibility. I was like, I really didn't think that would happen anyways, but it was like my friends were like, "Go, it's fine, fuck it."
Do
So
it.
I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll do it. There was no way I was going to be, you know. Afterwards, it was just kind of a fun thing, and even Paradise gets done filming. I mean, I had coffee with some of the producers just to talk about life, and they were filming JoJo, like wrapping up JoJo, thinking about the next season of The Bachelor. There was no conversations. And then like one day they got pissed off by Luke. Meanwhile, I'm this overwhelming fan favorite on Paradise with an incredible story arc of like, I can't find love.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, fuck it, we'll make Nick the Bachelor.
Oh, that's so good.
And then back to The Bachelor, like there were some moments, but like, again, it was me asking the women, like, you know, tell me about your life. And they don't like to play they stick to the playbook there. It's it's hard to be funny
heartfelt.
because there were some moments that there would have been moments that I could have been funny, but also a dick.
Yeah. And then you
I
could
won't
have.
say the girl, like there was one girl who was, I'll never forget it. It was in Wisconsin, and I knew I was sending her home. Like she just sweet girl, but like really intense. And like every time she was trying to talk to me, she'd be like trying to talk about serious shit, you know, like really hardcore. I'd be like, I just want to get to know you. Like,
Yeah.
let's just, you know. And at this point, I'm like sending her home. So she comes, and she's just a mess every time she's talking to me, and I'm feeling bad. And at this point, and it's the cocktail party. I know I'm sending her home.
Oh boy, this
And-
is so sad.
And she sits down, and this is
Girl
where
thinks she has a shot.
I'm trying to like, you know, let's just make it easy. You know, this is an easy conversation. She's like, you know, Nick, maybe I haven't really connected with you. And I don't remember what it was, but she tried to talk about some like real like.
Oh God.
Like, I just want to tell you about the time
My leg was sawed off.
Well, that actually happened too on my season. That was
when they
weird.
just get deep really quick.
This
Well, they
is
feel like
another
they have
girl.
because they want to get a connection with you.
One
I mean, it's
girl,
not
I
like-
knew. This is a week later. I knew I was sending her home, and she was like, "I've never told anyone this.
God.
I haven't even told my parents." And I literally said, "This is not the time.
Good
Don't do it."
job.
Yeah.
She did it anyways. Thankfully, they didn't air it. It was a fucked up story.
Yeah.
And I know she got mad at me. But like I was just like, you haven't told your parents? This is not the fucking
No,
time.
I'm not
Good for
person.
you. But okay, tell me about that
Anyway,
intensity.
so like she's talking to me, and I don't know, she wanted to talk about something. I'm just like, oh God, and again, I know I'm sending her home, right?
Yeah.
And I know she went to one of the producers right before, and you know, producers are just looking for moments. If you're willing to put yourself out there, they'll let you do it. I kind of joke where if you ask a producer, is this a good idea? Should I do this? No matter what it is, they're like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So apparently they went and found the producer, like, I just want to talk to Nick one more time. And I'm like, rapid. It's like 2:30 in the morning. It's like cold out, and she comes and finds me. And I knew the producers let her find me. And I'm sitting on the park bench, and she just like, Nick, I just want to like lie here with you. And she wasn't Southern. I don't know why I'm talking in a Southern
Okay.
voice.
I was like, I gotta find the Southern one.
And she like buries her head into my armpit, just like cuddling with me. And I break the fourth wall, and like.
No way.
There's like all the producers, there's like the whole
They
like
know
crew.
what's up.
They're in a van watching it
Oh,
like
right,
a movie.
right.
And I look at the producers and I'm like,
knowing it's not gonna air.
oh no, well, I mean it would have been, but I also would have looked like an asshole. And I'm just like,
so funny. I did a similar thing
I
on
was so mad. I was like, why?
on Dancing with the Stars. The first episode, I got kind of torn. I was voted off first, but I got torn to shreds in the first episode. And I thought I did. I was like, I made it through the dance. I didn't care. The judges were just so mean because they knew I was going to go home because they didn't want me on the show anymore. That's what I think. So the judges were really mean, and everyone afterwards was just like kind of like this with me, like, are you you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I didn't slip and fall. So I'm like, okay. But everyone's kind of like,
Still got pain.
like it's weird. Suddenly the cast and even Gleb, like everyone just took so much pity on me because the judges were so mean that no one wanted to talk to me because you don't want to talk to the person that's just looked like a loser, So backstage, I'm alone texting my ex-boyfriend for any kind of comfort in this scenario because literally all my friends on the show wouldn't talk to me because they were just like,
with me tonight.
Honestly, I was so sad and I was in my fucking leotard in the corner, just having gotten off stage. No one's looking me in the eyes because they're so embarrassed that I did so bad, which I didn't, whatever. So I remember at the end of the first episode, I got voted off the next night, a 2-night premiere. But at the end of the first episode, we're all on the dance floor at the end, just kind of like hugging and like done. And one of the dancers who's much better than me knew that I wasn't competition, whatever. Not that I thought I was. She walked up and she was like, all that matters is that you did your best.
Oh God. And
I didn't ask for that. I was just, and I remember, like it was live and she walked away and I remember looking in the camera and going, what the fuck? like, and being like, I hope they zoom in on me because I couldn't help it. I was like, I was so upset about that comment, but it was moments like that where you break the fourth wall and you're like, I hope they don't air that, but I also am like, I gotta want to do.
I was like, just maybe I'm going to be an asshole, but it's funny,
Yeah. Oh God.
Speaking of producers on The Bachelor, they're pretty funny, right? They're like comedians, a lot of them.
Some of them are.
Didn't you read one of their books on Audible?
My good friend Elon wrote a very good book. I will say his book is something I do model my thoughts around a lot. It's called You're Not That Great, but no one else is. Yeah. It's true. There's a lot of truth to it's kind of the whole like about being cheated on.
Yeah.
And when you stop thinking you're incapable of being cheated on, life's a little sweeter.
I love that. That is exactly the point of his book.
No one can cheat on. You're not that great. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally, life's a lot sweeter when you stop propping yourself up and like thinking that you are the 100 heart emoji eyes that people comment on you. That's really, believe the one nasty comment and like, life's just fucking
easy. And then
easy.
you can kind of coast.
Anyways, if you don't have time to read his book, it's fine. You have Audible. Audible is a leading provider of the premium digital spoken audio information and entertainment on the internet. It includes unmatched selection of audiobooks, including You're Not That Great, and other audio products. Users can sign up as an Audible listener, which gives them book credits each month for a low monthly fee. Customers download their choices and can access them on their iPhone, Android devices, Fire tablets, iPod, and other MP3 players. Do people have other MP3 players these days?
At this point?
What would it look like if we all listened more? Nikki, how would it look like?
Audible is the leading source of...
Not interrupting, because you can just...
Yeah.
Did you just interrupt her to say that?
Yeah, your Audible book won't interrupt you.
That's a good point. I'm in that book, You Are Not That Great.
Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, it even brings us closer. That is true. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Get your first audiobook free along with 2 selected audio original titles and exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen after you listen to our podcast. How do you get Audible? Just visit audible.com/Viall. Text code 500-500 to get started. Audible.com/Viall, Viall. Or text Viall, Viall, to 500-500 to get started. Do you clean your own apartment?
No.
Do you use Handy?
No.
You should. Do you use Uber?
Yeah.
Well, Handy's like Uber.
I need this.
App you can like order.
I have a maid, but like I would like to go through a service to acquire one just so I can find someone I trust,
Handy is an easy and convenient way to book cleanings on your schedule that work for you.
Awesome. And great logo, Handy. Mm-hmm. Good job.
They book home cleanings on your schedule right from the app or the website. If you like see a picture of you're about to meet someone, maybe even your Uber driver, do you like wonder, I wonder if they're good looking? Or like as a single person, you're like,
every time that I have like a meeting with someone or I just a name.
Curious. I got my Handy person and I was like, I wonder if she's good looking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She was a lovely lady, but
the answer to that was no.
Apparently a hard no.
No. But like I don't think she had like a fan. I don't know.
I'm going to use Handy for my home cleaning, furniture assembly, TV mounting, wall hanging.
Yeah. To get your first 3-hour cleaning for $39 when you sign up for a plan, visit handy.com/Viall and use promo code Viall during checkout. Recurring charge terms and conditions apply. So once again, to get your first 3-hour cleaning for $39 when you sign up for a plan, visit handy.com/Viall and use promo code Viall during checkout. Recurring charge terms and conditions apply. Visit handy.com to learn more. Shall we get to some fan questions? I feel like, Nikki, you're probably good at, well, I don't know. You're single, I'm single. I feel like single people are good at advice because we've fucked up a lot. And hopefully we've learned from our own mistakes. And so we're just going to,
Oh, great. We're going to help out some people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got great advice to give.
It is always, I did this once.
Yeah.
Don't do it. What is your name?
My name's Courtney.
Hi, Courtney. How are you? I'm Nick. This is Nikki.
Hi.
Courtney, how can we help you?
So, for full context, I moved out here from Minneapolis 6 months ago, out to LA.
Okay.
So,
welcome.
A couple of months after I moved out here, I met a guy.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about him.
Yes.
But, of course, there is one thing. We don't see each other very often. And the main reason for that is because he spends most of his time during the week hanging out with a couple of his ex-girlfriends. He's still really good friends with them. Okay. So a week or two will go by and we really haven't seen each other because he just doesn't have time in his schedule. And I really don't know if I'm just being insecure about it or if I'm just being a fool.
Okay.
Like, I'm really not sure how I'm supposed to feel about it.
Couple follow-up questions. How long have you been hanging out with this guy?
Almost 3 months now.
3 months. Okay. How old are you?
29.
How old is he?
37.
Okay. Have you expressed anything to him about this? Or are you like trying to play it cool like it doesn't bother you?
Great question.
Well, right now I'm playing it cool. I have mentioned, when a week goes by and we haven't seen each other, that's really not what I'm looking for in a relationship.
Okay.
And he's acknowledged that he's a bit of a bachelor still and he needs to change that.
Okay. You should listen to him. That's him being honest. So that's one point. And then a couple more follow-up questions on these ex-girlfriends. How long did you date them?
One of them, I think it was for a year. Okay. The other ones, I really don't know very much about them.
Okay. And was there ever a gap in time where he stopped hanging out with them and then like reconnected?
No, I think he's a lot of them morphed in from them dating into just being friends and being more amicable.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Thank you. This is all very helpful. I have your answer now that I have all this information.
Okay, I'm ready.
Listen, there's exceptions to every rule, right? You can, when people ask, can you be friends with your ex? I say no. We talked about this when Rachel was on. I have 2 girls in my life who are some of my best friends that we dated very briefly. We have hooked up and it didn't work out, but then like time had stopped. Like we stopped hanging out. Like a year in both cases went past and we reconnected as friends. And those are unique situations where then it was like we were buddies and like there was and again, we didn't date for a year by any means. Like we dated for a few weeks. And in those unique situations, you can I think it's possible to be friends, but I think that gap in time and not talking is important. Otherwise, there's like this weird, well, why'd you stop dating if you just kept hanging out, right? I think there's a thing there. The fact that he's hanging out with girls he's dated for a year is like, I don't know. That's weird and not normal. There's something there that you're just not privy to. But most importantly, the guy is 37. And he has told you that he acknowledges that he's still a bachelor and he's not necessarily ready to settle down. And that's him being honest. You should, he just shouldn't deserve a medal, but he is being honest. So you should listen to him. And what I'm saying is I think at this point, 3 months, it's definitely enough of time that it's now on you to be honest with your expectations and don't beat around the bush. Don't try to play it cool because you don't want to you've hung out for 3 months. It's not like the first date. You're like, hey, do you want to get married? And you're not saying, I want to get married, but you can say, hey, listen, I do like you and I'd like to see where this is going. So if you're into making me a priority, I would like that. And by all means, I want to be a cool chick. And so I'm not saying you can't be friends with your friends, but I need to if you're into this. And so if you say yes to that first part, I do would love to be okay with this. And a really great sign if that friendships are truly platonic, and I think on both sides, is how much they include you into this group. If they're really friends, then their friends will want to be your friends. Those girls will want to be your friends. They will want to get to know you. It won't be this kind of separation of things. They will include you. If there's truly just a platonic friendship, they will want to get to know you. There will be no jealousy. They will invite you out. They will even try to be your friends without him being involved. And that's something you should look for. And if he's not doing that, he's not doing it for a reason.
Okay. I like that. I feel very compartmentalized right now. So I'm kind of feeling that way.
Yeah.
And you will have all the power if you go, you know what? I get what you're into. And if you want to spend more time with these girls and you can't hang out with me, with them, and you can't make time for me, that's totally fine. I accept that. I just need someone that I know where I'm at with this. So in a way, you end up rejecting him if he can't meet your needs. And that's always really attractive to guys. If you go, okay, well, if you want to keep doing this, I can't do it anymore.
Totally.
So I wish you a lot of luck. Like, phrase it like that. Like, I don't like the way it is right now. So if that's going to continue, you have every right to do that. And also, like, good. And maybe we'll be friends someday, but I'm going to step away.
Totally. And
it's such a power move.
Use his words against him. Again, he is being honest, but it's also kind of a lying too. And he's saying that to you up front to like eliminate any of your ability to call him out in the future. So to Nikki's point, just be like, okay, thank you for being honest, but this is what I need. But because what he's used to doing, he's saying it because what he wants to do is be the honest guy. And he is being honest, right? But he's also setting you up to, he's used to women doing what you're doing. Enjoying his company, going along with it because he's set an expectation of like, this is where I am. And if you want to hang out with me, then you need to do this. And he's used to women doing exactly what you're doing, is not saying anything and hanging out with him on his convenience. And to Nikki's point, to use it against him. Great. Thank you for being honest. Not what I want.
Bye.
Can I tell you something though? I want to give you a piece of good news. I want you to value yourself a little bit more, because when people are interested in you, I've been married for a decade, or I've been with my husband for a decade rather, they make time for you.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. If he's not
the positive
making time,
thing. Like, this may be a little bit upsetting in the present that this guy is kind of being a dick about it. Or he's not, he's being really honest about it. But he's being honest, he's not being a dick, but he's hanging out with his exes, so whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck him. But the right guy is going to want to hang out with you and only you.
True.
So this may be an upsetting situation since you have your hopes on this guy right now, but the next guy won't.
Totally. Yeah. Also, and there is a possibility too, we said this before, like he just maybe doesn't realize. I mean, I would totally agree with Sam. And for the most cases, people who, even busy people, make time for the people they want to spend time with.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm guessing this guy sounds like a guy who's used to saying this.
He's not busy, he's with other people.
But whatever, like busy's relative. It's like whatever we allocate our time to. But he may just, to Nikki's point, not, again though, you don't realize till he's gone. He's definitely not used to women saying to him what Nikki told you, that he's not used to it.
Just being like, that's the way it is.
He might realize that you are like, it's possible, but be prepared to not get the answer that you want.
Right.
I think we talk about that a lot every episode. Is like, a lot of times people don't put themselves out there or say what they're thinking because they're afraid of getting the answer they don't want. Right? Like you're afraid.
You got to be okay with walking away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay with walking away.
Yes.
So,
and if you walk away, I'm guessing he'll feel rejected and fight to get you back.
but
That's
make sure he's not doing it. Like give him one chance to do that, but don't give him two.
Yes, exactly.
Because if he does it and then gives you a lot of attention and then it dwindles down for a small period of time, then he just reacted to the rejection.
Right.
So
He just
well
wants what he
said.
can't have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that was helpful.
Thank
luck.
you very much.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Hi.
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Are you okay being shown on camera?
Yeah, I'm on camera, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You look great.
Yes.
Killing it.
Thank you. Okay, so my question is basically surrounding mental health and mental illness. So I've struggled with mental illness basically all my life. But it's not so much a stigma thing because I do work in the industry and I'm lucky enough to have friends and family who are very supportive. But it does play like a pretty important role in a lot of relationships, particularly romantic relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm wondering more just like how you would suggest letting that, like accepting that that's part of your life and part of it's going to influence the dynamics without letting it kind of drive the relationship itself and a lot of the insecurities that come with being in a romantic relationship.
Are you able to, and it's fine if you're not comfortable, are you able to give us any more insight into, is it like anxiety? Is it more than that? You know, what are we?
No, my gosh, no, for sure. That's a good question, especially because it is so diverse. So I don't suffer from like psychosis necessarily, but I do have pretty bad depression and high functioning anxiety.
Okay. Well, thank you for asking this question. I know it's not easy. I struggle with anxiety a ton. I don't, I certainly get down a lot, but thankfully I don't think I'm clinically depressed. I mean, sometimes I'm just bored and lonely. And then like anxious about like everything I'm worried about my life isn't being. I don't know if Nikki has some thoughts on this, but I think when it comes to any insecurity is try to own. We talked about this in earlier part of the episode. Is I think there's a lot of confidence and understanding and being open about your insecurities without letting it define you, right? So with dating, listen, find comfort that you're probably not the only one out there with anxiety and various forms of their own struggles. And just be patient with yourself and maybe look for someone who's also a patient person. I wouldn't. I always say when it comes to dating and when you're early on, just try not to dump all your shit on them, regardless of whatever that shit is. You know, whether it's mental health or anxiety, or your parents got divorced last week, or you have a kid, or you got cheated on. Just use the first couple dates to get to know that person, and then slowly kind of see if you know, because at the first couple of dates, it's hopefully maybe test them out to see if there's someone who's interested in getting to know you and sharing little insecurities, and you'll get a comfort level, a guide of like, how safe do I feel around this person? And people always ask me, what am I looking for in a partner? And minus the physical attraction and someone who makes me laugh and all that stuff. But I really want to find someone who makes me feel safe. I mean, honestly.
That's it.
And that safe is like, I can just be myself. I can have all my bad habits and my good habits, and they don't cut me down. After like the 6 months of getting to know me, when whatever was charming is now annoying to them. Instead, they're giving me opportunities or feedback to be a better version of myself. They don't make me a better person, but they help me be that person, and they're open to that. And so I think you're no different than at least me and everyone else there is like, find someone who's willing to help you through it, and be patient that it's not like, hey, I've struggled and I'm not dealing with what you're dealing with, and I've struggled to find it. So don't beat yourself up that it's hard for you too. So be patient with yourself, but don't run from it, you know, because the person you really want to be with is going to be okay with who you are. Is probably the best answer I can give.
You just nailed it. Like, I have nothing to add. I mean, I suffer with depression, so I can relate to you on that level of being like, can this guy handle me when I want to like lock myself away and I get really so super sad that it's almost like kind of scary how sad I can get and how mean I can be to myself. And that's not something you need to figure out early on, like Nick said. It's not something that you need to let them know early on or be like, because the truth is you have handled it by yourself before. So you don't really need anyone to handle it for you. You don't need to look for a man to help you through it because you've done it yourself all along. So you just, in those early stages, need a guy that at least acknowledges that you're looking for someone who he doesn't need to suffer with depression too or have had experience with it. He just needs to acknowledge maybe that you'll figure out if he's cool enough to handle you at your worst early on, like Nick said, but don't go into it early. I think we've all made that mistake before, but you don't need to drop that the first 3 dates, like you said. That is such a good point. But you already have you don't need a man to like fix you, which you know that. You sound like a very intelligent woman. But I always am like, was someone gonna be able to handle my depression? It's like, bitch, I've been handling it myself the whole time. I don't need a guy to have to like nurture me through it. Like, I just need him to understand that depression is a thing that happens to people like a flu, that I'm gonna get the flu a couple times a year. And if you want to hang out for it, cool. If you don't, I've done it on my own before too.
What makes you get down?
It's
Just
sometimes
curious.
it's just chemical. Sometimes it's just one rejection. Sometimes it's a physical thing that I see. And it's generally if I haven't been meditating, I get depressed. So I don't get depressed anymore because I meditate every day. And
I
it's
started
my
meditating.
antidepressants. It's the best.
It's really
Well, everyone walks around with some version of something. I think that's important to remember. Like some are physical, some are emotional, some are psychological. I think every single person carries around some version of something. So you will find someone who has their own thing too.
Or you won't.
Or you won't.
Because sometimes you don't find someone.
And that's fine too.
Not everyone can find their soul. This
And
whole
that's
idea
fine, too.
of like he's out there somewhere. He
Well,
might
it's not
live
a
in
soulmate. I mean,
it's not a soulmate.
not a soulmate, but like sometimes you don't meet the person that you're meant to be with. Even if there's 1,000, maybe
There's no meant to
I
be
probably
with.
I probably have 20,000 guys who
I
if
don't
I met
believe in
them in
soulmates,
the
though.
world,
Yeah.
I'd be like, we are like meant to be. I can't believe we met.
Sure.
But they all might live in Zaire, and I'm not going there anytime soon. So I might not meet him. But like to your point, you're right. There are so many people out there that have their own
Of
stuff
course, we
that
all
think
walk
no
around
one's
with
going to accept them
something.
for their thing.
Yeah.
We're all riddled with insecurities and anxieties, and that should give you some kind of
but
comfort.
to
Especially
that
now.
point, we're having a therapist come on next week. That's our guest.
I'm doing a therapy
Do
session.
a therapy session with Nick.
I've never done one. I'm just gonna dump.
We
You
believe
seem like you have.
in therapy.
Well, I have one in my own head all the time. I talk to myself constantly.
Yeah.
Like, "Ugh." Do you have any other follow-up questions? We talked a lot. Well, after we answered your question, I don't want to make sure you're good.
She's
Not-
frozen.
She's frozen. Please reconnect.
She's been
reconnect.
staring, and I'm like, she is really like holding her gaze.
I was like, she's stunning.
and it
Look at the
froze on a
skin,
really
and
great image of
I
her.
always freeze like this.
I know. I
Right?
freeze
I'm
like.
Skyping with my
frozen
clients.
like, underneath the chin. Can we call her back and say goodbye? Well, thank you, Faith. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you're going to be great. I mean, you're obviously very beautiful. So just go out there and just find a patient guy. We're all just trying to find people who we can feel safe around. So anyways.
And I like that you said that. I think that's a nice way of putting it.
Oh, well, good. Oh, thank you. Have a great week. Thanks for calling. Really appreciate it. You take care, all right?
Take care. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Nikki, I had so much fun with you. Thank you for coming on.
It was awesome.
Where can people find you?
Nikki Glaser on Instagram. That's where you can slide. Twitter. I'm not accepting slides as much in Twitter, but Instagram definitely. I'm checking my my DMs all the time. That's a joke.
Professionally
honestly, please
and
do
personally.
Not. Yeah. And I'm on tour right now. NikkiGlaser.com for tickets. I'm really, really, really funny, and my show is killer from top to bottom.
She has a
And,
Netflix special coming on.
I have a Netflix special that's going to
it's a
come out.
dream.
I have a serious radio show that Nick is going to be on. If you're listening to this when it comes out, he's going to be on later this week on my Sirius XM show on Channel 95 every morning from 10 to 12. So if you have Sirius XM or a rental car, check it out.
I had so much fun.
I had so much fun.
Thank you. Let's do this again.
I would love to.
Till next time.
Yeah.
Also, send in your questions, people. We want to hear your dark stories. Have a good week. Rate us 5 stars. Peace.